The Pelicans halfway through the season, 41 games. I had to take it back to the roots, man. Baby, what up?
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I am your host, Chris Connor. I got a special group where a lot of this shit, I think, for me, all started. If y'all got a chance to check out the show, I think it was the off season that we did with this group, carrying on Twitter Spaces every game, hosted a bunch of different shows, post game, the wins, the losses, the in betweens, the talk. These are people that you find whether you own Twitter or not, whether you own the X app. If not, they're gonna tell you where to find them at, and that's where you need to be. We're gonna start off with Rocky. Y'all know most of these people already, but we're gonna start off with Rocky. Rocky, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Blessed to be here. Appreciate you for having us on here tonight. How you feeling, bro?
Sick. From watching the game that just happened a couple years ago in negative 11-degree weather, but we mobbing. Charles, what up, dog?
I'm chilling, man. It's good to be here with y'all, man. Halfway through the season. I can't believe we're already here.
And one of my favorites, already in the arena, or always anytime I run to it in the arena, chopping it up for Lauren. What's good, man?
Man, I'm good. Appreciate you for having us. Once again, 41 games in. Interested where we go from here. So let's get it.
All right, man. So the season then went by super fast, man. So let's get into it. Like when they said at the end of the game that it was 41, that we was halfway through the season, I'm like, damn, I mean, I knew we was in January. I knew the All-Star game was next month, but I ain't put it all together. This for 41 games. So, as always, on most NBA seasons, especially if you Pelicans fan, it's been a roller coaster. And the funny part about roller coasters, a lot of times is, when you a fan and you got a dedicated fan base. These days are post game. And what used to be just timelines over the past few years, which I was a part of, and now these three regularly host and maintain the craziness, whether they in the mix or they just delegating. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it, man. So 41 games. We gonna start off with the positives. I want to start with for Lauren. And for Lauren, I want you to tell me 41 games in, the team is 24-17. The first thing I want you to tell me is, um, are you happy with that record? Are you content with it? Are you indifferent? Are you disappointed? And then afterwards, I want you to tell me the most positive thing that you could think of about this team and their start 7 games over 500 halfway through the season. Flo, you muted.
Excuse me. I'm far from disappointed when you take a couple things into consideration, like CJ missing about 12 games. You start the season without three of your rotation players and um Trey, Jose, and Najee. And I think for a while there, within like the first month of the season, we were like top five in missed games in the season. So just kind of taking that into consideration, and it's been Willie's first time more than 10 games where he's had this starting five. Just taking that as like, I think it's fair. Do I think that they've absolutely let a couple games, get by them? Well, instead of what, 24-16 you said?
24-17.
Like, oh, 24-17. Okay. Couple games, they kind of let go. I think they could be maybe 28-13 if my math is correct, just because it's, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it, but I mean, I think it's fair, all things considered. It's just that because you, I think, dropped a couple, your best basketball has to be in front of you, and it has to be soon.
Yeah, and once again, y'all, for those that mainly watch everything that's done here on YouTube in regards to Pelicans coverage, maybe you just on Facebook, maybe you just on Instagram, but if you tap in with that X app, regardless of your feelings on Elon Musk, I'm telling you, if you're a Pelicans fan, Pelican Spaces post game, it's the place to be. Win or loss, you get to have your opinions heard. You get to hear other opinions. Some you aren't gonna agree with, some you not. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cussing. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a good time. But it's like, it's kicking it. It's kicking it with your people, talking about a team that you put a lot of time in, for better or for worse. Charles, I'm gonna move to you next year. Because I know this the hat you wearing now. So you missed the negative man online. So I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me the negative. You can also tell me if you are content, if you are optimistic, or if you are maybe more pessimistic about the record. 41 games in, but tell me the negative element or some of the things that you think need to be worked on or maybe can't be fixed halfway in to the season.
I'm the king of optimism, man. Everything is beautiful. The sun is shining. The roses smell great. So the negatives. Look, man, we've got some work to do on the interior, and that's going to mean breaking up some of the vibes. Unfortunately, I don't know who that is. We can fight in the comment section or in the spaces, but there's going to have to be some rearrangement there. I think Brandon and Zion's ability to elevate, and this is not just like recency bias here. I think everyone is expecting to see one of those two elevate to another gear. You're going to need that. I don't think long term is an issue, but I think if you're just looking back, you would like to have seen a little bit more. And then I think the third thing that is something that needs to be overcome is a little bit of the lineup flexibility. Again, I think it's trending up, but if we're just looking back, there's been a little reluctance to utilize some of the weapons, if you will, and some more advantageous ways. But to that being said, we've seen they're trending up on all those things. But if we're just looking back, I think those are some negatives.
Okay. Well said, brother. Rocky. Your thoughts as well. Are you more on the pessimistic side? Are you more optimistic? Are you somewhere in the middle about the start to the season? But my main question to you is, um, so we really, I mean, I'm sure if you like me, and maybe, if we being a little bit petty, I'm sure, you may follow some Grizzlies fans, you may follow, I know we all have a few Laker fans that we follow. We all love the game of basketball. So I don't watch just Pelicans games. Wow, that's a good majority of games that I watch. I watch a lot of different basketball games that are on TV. But Rocky, I mean, what we tied to is what's happening with this fan base. And I see a lot, it's saying, I tweeted the other day, Pale's Twitter, civil wars and victory laps. And it feel like, wins, during wins when things go some way, people taking short-term victory laps one way or another. And in losses, all hell. Well, no, either wins or losses, all hell's breaking loose. Somebody arguing with somebody about a point. Somebody don't agree with somebody else's opinion versus asking them a question, having a conversation, and they attacking them or talking crazy, saying something they wouldn't say to them in their face. Do you think that this fan base is any different from any others, or is it more just a sense of this is the community that we're within? So it just it may feel worse or better than it actually is throughout every game or every day during the season.
I appreciate you, man. So, first of all, my thoughts on the season. So we're 41 games in, and I agree with Falaren. We should be somewhere in the 28th win percentile right now. Is that in where we at 24? I actually, if I'm being a little petty, like Charles, I think we should be somewhere closer to 30. Plenty of games we dropped, especially the one tonight, where you have double digit leads going into the fourth quarter and you brittle it away. I think I also, and I mentioned this in our spaces that we just wrapped up tonight. Y'all go watch that. Okay, listen to that. By the way, but I said you're 41 games in, and you're getting to the part of the season where you should know what your lineups are, because now you're going to be tweaking them and knowing what's going to, if you're seating where you're at, you should know who's going to be giving you what when it's time to play playoff basketball. And if not, you should be shortening those rotations, knowing what guys are going to contribute and what you're going to get from your role players now going into the second half of the season. Reason being, I said that is because if you know that going into this trade deadline, you know what your weaknesses are. So that's what I want to see from Willie Green in this short time between now and the trade deadline. Tweak them, get them together, know what you got, and know what you may or may not can move like a chess move on the chessboard. Now this fan base. It was funny. You tweeted about the Civil Wars. It is an absolute civil war right now because whether me, Charles, or Falarian say the positive in it, there's the other side that say we're being too positive. If we speak the negative in it, there's the side that say we're being too negative. So we try to be centered and call out all the bull. I can't say the other word because I don't want to curse on your platform. But I really think that this fan base is different and unique in its own way. See, a lot of other fan bases have seen winning basketball in a consistent manner. And we're a fan base that's thriving right now with a winning season so far, but struggling to get to that next level or seeing our guys get to the next level. And so we're a fan base that we're like the roller coaster that's our team. We have our highs and we have our lows. And then put your hands up for the ride because that drop be fucking, I'm sorry, it be bad as crazy. But hey man, I love this fan base. When I compare it to others, at least we be a little sensible with some of the demands that we have. Cause man, if you go to the other Laker land or Grizzly land, they'll trade their whole damn roster for one or two people right now. And I'm quite sure we have a few of that in our fan base, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm swinging until the damn back break. It don't matter.
Yeah. I got you, Rocky. All the people that's watching right now, or if you listening, do me a favor, write this down, put it in your phone, or log into your Twitter app. I want you to follow these people. You ready? We got Rocky on Twitter. It's _rock, exactly how you think it's spelled, production. But that's not how you think it's spelled. So stay with me. PRODUSHEN. That's at @1_rock production. Hold on, I ain't done. We got Charles. I need you to follow at CW, both capitals, _Chambers, CHAMBERS. And then as well, I need y'all to follow for Lauren at NOLA, NOLA_YF. Now for Lauren. So the Pelicans are on pace right now with the record that we spoke about. It's 24-17 right now. If they match this pace in the second half of the year, that would put them, they would end the year with 48-34, which would be, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the best record since maybe
I think that AD season. Oh,
Yeah, since
maybe.
the 80
Yeah,
Drew
I think
Portland
they
season.
got 48 wins. I think.
Okay. All right. So
That's correct. That's correct.
All right. So the best season since AD's second to last year in New Orleans. Some might say from the outside, like let's say they a Pistons fan right now and they can't buy a win. They won tonight, right? But they can't buy a win. They hate their coach a lot more than Some hate Willie Green, regardless of what people think. Y'all, you might think people hate Willie Green. Go watch some of them Pistons fans talk about Monty Williams. But yeah, you want Pace to do something that you haven't did in 7 years. Some would say that as fans, when some of these losses happen that are followed by statement victories, whatever you want to call them, some really good road wins, some would say that maybe a portion of the fan base is being ungrateful. What's your thoughts on a balance between wanting something beyond just um, like having a different
Mediocrity.
yeah, having a different standard than what someone else has when it comes to watching this team and where you think they could or should be able to go.
It's kind of funny because I don't know if this is gonna answer the question that you asked, but in the spaces I think a couple of days ago, the topic, well, not I brought the topic up just because I was seeing a lot of stuff on a timeline, and the bickering that you talked about is just, we say it's both sides, but it's really always one side more than the other. Like, there are people who going to express certain frustrations, or talk about rotations, talk about this, and like we just want to be left to be like the team could do better, but instead, like, you getting talked about, and y'all ain't real fans and all that. And so, and you have people who have now come to the conclusion, for whatever reason, that like there's real fans within this organization, this fan base, that like want the worst for the team. You're like preying on their downfall. And it's like you're talking about people that have been fans of this team for a very long time, and support them in multiple capacities, not just watching the game, but again, like Rocky drive back and forth to Mississippi. Other people drive back and forth from another small town, or from Alabama, or from Texas, and people buy merch and they go to game. They season ticket holders. You have Charles who brought like a little 6 game package way from Denver. He stay in Denver, so it's just like you can't tell somebody they don't have the audacity or call them a fake fan. And so it's people who, no matter what side they on, they want to be right about this team, right? There's the side of the numerous of people who maybe feel like this iteration of the team, or a couple guys on the team, won't be here when they win, and don't think that everybody collectively is good enough to get them there. And then there's the other side of the folks who like, yeah, I think we good enough today, and I think we can get that for today. Either way it go, they want to be right. And it looks bad because, again, like, a portion of it is spewed from the negativity of, yeah, I don't think, Brandon and Zion are good fits, or JV make the fit worse, or, then you talk about Trey who can't rebound, or Dyson who, can't get a bucket. And it's just all these little kind of fine things that we talk about on a daily basis, that, are just little small nuggets and nuances of, like, how to make the team better, outside of the fact that what really matters is like experience and just growth. And like that really is the biggest thing. But like, I mean, you can, just like we can call for them to make a trade for backup point guard or backup big. As fans on Twitter, like, we can call for more camaraderie, amongst ourselves, or more balance, to not, have the pendulum swing so far in one direction, whether it's too high or too low, too negative or too positive, and kind of stay even killed. And that's one of the things that I said, like, we was on a really good stretch for a while, and you see all these "we are so back" tweets, and and bigging up Willie and this, that, and the third, that the minute that you have kind of crushing loss, like, nobody, like, Clippers, for example, like, nobody want to talk about it being a crushing loss to a really good team that's finding rhythm and finding momentum. But even the little things within that game that you like, it's a process thing, and they have to get better at this no matter who the opponent is. And, because you played well for 2 weeks prior to that, is nobody can say anything about the loss to the Clippers. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's I don't know. It's just we all want the same thing, Chris, and I think that's where I landed. Like we all want the same thing, but it's just not everybody have the vision of how we get there and who's gonna be there when we do. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I couldn't have said that any better. We all want the same thing. We just may not all agree on the route to get there. It's like you pull up a map right now, and like you pull up your GPS and I don't know, you go 15 minutes like from wherever you at right now, and you look to try how to get there. GPS give you three different ways. They give you ways without tolls. They give you ways without highways. They give you the streets. They give you options because you might want to go a different route, and that's okay. But the goal,
Or better yet, Chris, like if we were anywhere in the city and all our destination was the Smoothie King Arena, I guarantee we all go a different way to get there.
exactly, and that's cool. Like that's fine. The goal just to fucking get there. So that was well said, Falon. I appreciate that. Charles, are the Pelicans the deepest team in the league? And I want you to tell me I want you to tell me after that why that's a good thing and why that's a bad thing.
Man, you put me on the spot. Are the Pelicans the deepest team in the league? I'm going to say no, they are not the deepest team in the league. But I'm going to qualify that by saying they have the potential to be the deepest team in the league. Because in order to be a deep team, you have to take advantages of what your bench provides you. Not just a couple other things, but to be a deep team, your bench has to do multiple things well. And right now, we are still discovering how to utilize all of the advantages that guys 6 through 11 bring us. But like I said earlier, if we're looking back at the 41 games, you would have to say that's a huge area of opportunity. But if you're projecting forward, you would have to say it's trending upwards. So I really, really hope that they discover, how to tap into that, because in my opinion, being a deep team that attacks teams in different ways throughout the game, that is the quickest way to success right now, because Brandon and Zion still need a little bit of time. I mean, where are we at with those two in terms of games played? We can't be more than like what, 120?
Yeah, it's some crazy.
Yeah, and I'm not bringing that up in a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, compare that to the Jays. The Jays, are they're 5, 6 seasons, in this thing strong. That's a huge learning curve when it comes to. And I was listening to a podcast. It may have been AD and Cam on Sirius,
Yeah.
where James Harden is getting reps with guys like Zubac, and he's showing them, hey, when I'm running the pick and roll, this is where I need you. This is where I want you. Like, there's a learning curve to that type of basketball, and those two need a little bit of time. Right now, they can be closers. Right now, they can take advantage of opportunities, the spacing, but they're not going to be what we need them to be right now. They need a little bit more runway, and that's where the bench depth comes in my opinion.
So speaking of that, Rocky, I'm gonna lead you here with this question, and then we'll talk about we'll end with some of your favorite, with all of you guys' favorite parts of the season, and then one addition that you would make, or one change you would make to the roster to complete this team for this year. But Rock, I believe the team is 0-6 in games decided by 3 points or less. And while tonight they ended up losing by 5 because of some late free throws towards the end, or you know, it was still a close game. It felt like if I'd have told you that the score was 103, it was 123 to 120, you'd be like, all right, because it was close down the stretch. Um, does that worry you, or is it 41 games in with this team making up for so much time lost? And I mean, being relatively, the main guys being relatively healthy so far for the first half of the season. Does that struggle in close games? Does that worry you? When we're talking about a team that should make the playoffs this year, we should expect them to make the playoffs, or are you more optimistic that maybe that they're getting this out of the way now? You'd rather have them go through it today than be going through it in late February or in March as playoff season arrives.
So it worries me. It's concerning. And the reason why it's concerning, it goes back to my last point. You're tweaking a roster, you're tweaking your lineup. I'm sorry, not you're out. Who's going to be my closing lineups going into this latter part of the season, right? When you get that tweaked and you know who's going to give you what minutes here, where, and there, I think we'll get a better end result than trying to figure out who should I put in, who should go here, who should do this. See, as long as we're continuing to do that, we're going to continue to have these collapses. Because right now, you don't have a guy that you know for a fact can go in at this point. You know you're going to get these minutes from him. You know you're going to get this production from him. You're still trying to figure out how to give Hawkins minutes. And we're 41 into the season. So I think when Willie Green figures out, and not just Willie Green, the entire coaching staff, when they figure that part out, you'll eliminate some of these games where we're losing in clutch minutes. Another reason why you're losing in clutch minutes is because your clutch shooters aren't, I don't want to say not clutch, but I want to say questionable clutches. In this game, you can close me out. In this game, I'm trying to, what can I get from you? And so those are things that the coaching staff and the players have to put on their onus and say, look, no more of this shit. I'm sorry, no more of this stuff. Y'all know I got to pot him up. Let's put this together, and this is what I'm going with, and this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to continue to give this player, and I'm not going to name no players because I'm not going to be petty tonight. But this is who I'm going to go with. And sorry, bro, but unless something happens to A, B, and C, I just need you to stay locked and ready. And so, and then on to your other question of you try to trap me. You said, do I think there's a piece that we can move? I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is where it's about to get all touchy for the Pelicans fans that don't like to hear me, Charles, and Falern talk about the weaknesses on the roster and where we could upgrade. And it will be different from either one of us. They may say a different player than me. No shade to Najee, no shade to Jose. No shade to Kyra Lewis. We can even go as far as EJ Liddell. No shade to none of those guys. But these are guys that are rotational pieces that are also salary. And in a league where you're trying to put pieces together to get that final missing piece, to crown a king and crown a queen, you need to move some of these guys to get to that end result that you're trying to get to. Does not mean you have to, some say, trade Brandon to get there or re-sign Brandon to get there, whatever the case may be. But these guys that we know are salary that we can go and get a backup big or a point guard or, move a salary here or there. Those guys, being that they're on the shorter end of the rotation, shorter end of the depth that this team has, you can't keep them all. Look, Najee is probably B.I. homie. Najee and Jose, they probably kick it when we long done talking about the season, probably on a personal level. But Charles will agree with me if I say this. When you're running a business, you got to make business decisions. And so sometimes friendship have to meet me on the other side of the neutral ground. And that's what I'm gonna say all that.
I got where you going with that. I don't think that was super controversial to be honest. I think a lot of people are talking about ways that the Pelicans have to consolidate some of their assets right now to help a lot of different people, from the coaching staff to the coaches that are directly involved with the rotations, to the ones that manage them once the game is in play, and for the players that just quite frankly need to play and need to play minutes together. I'm mainly talking about Trey Murphy and Jordan Hawkins. But
Agree.
speaking of Trey Murphy, Lauren, um, I want you to tell me. I mean, kind of going off of Rockies, off of where Rocky ended there. Give me a player that you think can be the finishing piece for this version of the team. That, I mean, it may not be for what the team looks like next year or the year after, but if we're talking about maximizing the people that we believe will be on the roster, the main guys that will be here with the team we built around in CJ, Brandon, and Zion. If you're looking to maximize those individuals for this year or the next, maybe even say 2 years, who would that person be if you could make a move today?
I was gonna ask, are we being realistic? And by that, I mean, like, am I thinking money isn't an option, or I'm taking that into consideration?
Let's do it.
Um, Money wasn't an option. Um, I do like. I look at this team like most people, and Zion, like you know, some other really good players need shooting around them, and I know you have to have defense and shot creation. But you can never have enough shooting, just like you can never have enough length, just like you can never have enough defense. And any kind of six-man guy that can get his own bucket and shoot the ball, excuse me, would be my target. So easily, if I didn't have to worry about anything, give me Buddy Hill, give me Bogdanovich out of Atlanta. You know what I mean? Would have said Kevin Herter, but he hasn't played as well, but he's still a solid player. Jordan Clarkson is of that same ilk. And then he's a guy come off the bench, skilled, can get his own bucket. He may not be as much of a sniper as the other two, but a guy that's a net starting. When you do start him, like you know what to expect. I think I'm still with a lot of fans who think that a backup big is missing, because here's the thing: it's two issues with that, and why it continue to be a thing in a conversation at all. One is, as great as Larry's been since he's been back. Like, I think these past two Dallas games alone, he's brought his hard hat. Like tonight. Like, I thought JV went to work. He really didn't have any answer down the stretch for Derek Lively, young, mobile, big, can jump, can run. He was active, but I thought JV did as well as he could. They just left him on the island too much. But Larry brought his hard hat, and with that is, as well as he playing, that's going to give the coaches every reason to play him and continue to play him, because he playing well and they trust him. And for a guy that's had injury issues pretty much since he kind of walked into the league, or since he's been in Cleveland where it really started to be kind of a struggle, I think you're gonna wear him down. And it's funny because I literally just said this, that when I look at him, I look at him in a manner of like the Iguodala's and the PJ Tuckers, guys that aside from your stars, you need those kind of guys when you're trying to win something come playoff time, because they can guard 1 through 4 and 1 through 5, some of them just smart, intellectual, like just know where to be, gonna get into other guys when they not where they need to be. I think you gonna need Larry if you're trying to play basketball beyond April, and running him to the ground right now in January and February, it's not gonna do us any favor. Then there's the JV. Well, um, some guys, and not even Jokic and Embiid, because those are two MVP caliber bigs. So casting them aside, there's just gonna be some guys that, JV kind of struggle against, like the lack of athleticism, good footwork, but like there's not really much lateral quickness. Willie, kind of since we got Larry, they've had a fascination to play small, which kind of casts JV out. Um, so for me, I look at Larry more. Well, he's a guy that I'm starting to think of as being more of a Zion replacement, since I don't think this roster really has a legit backup four. I know Trey is big enough and we think that, he can do it, but Trey is a wing to me, especially with the lack of rebounding. So to me, I think I will move forward more with, Larry as like that four, and getting the five. And again, if money or nothing was an option, or even if it was, like some options just off the top that are possible. Wendell Carter Jr., Andre Drummond, um, was going to say Miles Turner, but that's not possible unless you trade JV. So it's very few guys that I think make it happen. But to answer your exact question of this roster, everybody on it with the coaching staff, um, give me, give me. Damn, that's tough. That's so tough. Um, give me Buddy Hield and Wendell.
Mm, I like that, and I really like the Wendell Carter element. That's somebody that people have been talking about a little bit more and more, but I feel like that's right up David Griffin's lane in regards to the type of move that he will make. So good work, good talk there for Lauren. Uh, Charles, man, what about you? What do you think is if you were adding another piece on this team, and to me, the really only spots that I realistically see them even thinking about upgrading, even possible, even if it was just that they could constitute the locker room not burning down, is the three at talking Herb Jones and the center position with Jonas. Do you think an upgrade needs to happen at either of those positions? Is maybe the upgrades already on the team and just a change of philosophy, or do you think that there needs to be a move to maximize the current guys that you have, and specifically pointing at one of those two spots?
So I think it's a combination of maximizing. So you've got to. It's kind of like when you're trying to learn how to dribble with your left.
Yeah.
You got to like. I don't know what y'all dad did, but my dad literally like made me put my right hand behind my back. You know, um, and I think there needs to be some collaboration on what the vision is and what these changes mean for the rotation. So I'm gonna give you a trade. I'm gonna try to be as realistic as possible. Y'all can fact check me in the comments. Y'all can at me, whatever. Um, you move Kyra into space. So whatever's left on his salary, you add that as cash in a deal to a team like Washington. And I'm really not trying to be shady. I'm just trying to be as specific as possible. You add that cash to a deal, and you add Najee. So I'm looking at Detroit. I'm looking at Washington, and I'm saying, hey, you guys get 41 games to look at a guy whose number could be pretty reasonable. A team like Detroit, who really should be further along than they are, that's you're not banishing him to the nether regions. If you send him to Washington, you actually sending them to a place where he's familiar. So I look at those as places where he can kind of shine. and guarantee that next deal. So you opened up 2 roster spots. One of those I give to Matt Ryan. Go ahead and give him the Jose Najee special, where you convert his deal at the end of the year, thereby giving yourself a guy who is going to be one of your shooters. So when you look to the bench, you look to shooting. The other one I do is probably a little bit more controversial. It's not as sexy as Wendell Carter Jr. or those types of guys who I like those deals. But I would seriously consider giving Indiana some type of first round compensation for Isaiah Jackson.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And Indiana's kind of in a situation right now. They got their eye on Pascal. They are not looking to give up Jarris. They're not looking to give up Benedict Mathurin. So I put them in a position where they have to say no to a pick. I don't know which one I give them. Probably not LA. Probably not Milwaukee. But we can talk since I will have 2 roster spots. So if there's another young piece that they're willing to consider, I haven't really kicked that around, but I would do that. My goal is not to get rid of JV. My goal is, like Florence said, is to give Nance. He needs to be able to do what the top 4 did, 2 games ago. We can't be playing him in the JV, the tough JV matchups the way we are. So bolster the front court with another big, and then you kind of rejigger. Remember that word from the Space? we're gonna shuffle the deck on the rejigger the bench, and we'll take away Najee, and we're gonna add a shooter, and then we're gonna ask Willie to lean more into some of those two shooter lineups. Final answer.
Man, we gonna have to do this again, because y'all done brought up things that I haven't thought about. Like, I gave up Larry Nance being a 4 since he left Cleveland, when he was playing a 3 sometimes, just because of the shooting problems the team already had, and him just not being consistent. But if he's healthy, I know
Bingo.
he's something ridiculous right now, but if Larry's healthy, I think Larry can get you 35 to 36%. And that can, you can work having him at the 4, or depending on the 5 that you bring in, he still may be able to have some of those dunker spot positions or free throw line sets where he's, giving a handoff, or setting the screens at the wing. That's an element that I kind of punted and hadn't thought about.
Chris,
Yeah.
he's 5 of 9 in the last 3 games. He's taken 3, so there's that.
Yeah, so I had punted the idea of Larry being a 4 ever again, at least in New Orleans. But I mean, it makes all the fucking sense. I just because the Pelicans haven't had the right options at center, I default to thinking, well, he's your best option against certain matchups, when that's just not the case. It shouldn't be Jerry. I mean, it shouldn't be Jonas Valanciunas or Larry Nance. And that's it. it shouldn't be it. So that's some really good. That's really good shit, y'all. So, yo, man, I appreciate y'all. I told y'all I'm gonna get y'all out of here.
Chris, let me just say this real quick.
Go
To package with what Charles just said. Charles, you left one guy off that we can throw in that whole little cash and consideration and pot. Cody Zeller. He ain't
You could do
doing
that
nothing.
too.
He ain't being used. So you could actually put that into that little mixture with and I do like the Wendell Carter as well, but I really do like the Pacers trade. And let's just hope Griff is sitting somewhere in front of his luxury TV in his hotel room, watching the games tonight and thinking, hey, maybe I can call this, that, and that, and move and make some moves.
Rock, I think the larger point is the team has worked themselves into a really decent position. I know you're a little low on the record, and I totally understand. I am too. We're reaching a point where some of those assets, I mean, there's money in the bank. What are we doing with it? It's not in a long-term savings. It's not really in like a money market account. Like, it's just in a savings where it ain't really doing a whole lot. So can we pull that cash out and maybe use it to get some things? I mean, where we at? We 24-17. What else you need to see? You don't got to get crazy,
We got 10 million to spend.
we we be talking like so I be thinking like I look at GMs or people that make these decisions like grocery shoppers, right? Like, you got some people that looking to save money. You got some people that's only looking for deals. Maybe they gonna buy in bulk, but they want, they going to Costco. You got some folks that know that they ain't got the money to spend, and they going to. I mean, my store is Aldi. It might be different for you.
I
And
have Chris. I can ask you a question.
yeah,
Um, Coming into this year, without just straight from your point of view, what do you think was the goal? Right, like CJ's been here since February of 21. So a half a season, full season last year, and the remainder of this season. And yeah, when you traded for him, the trade was mostly opportunistic. A French all-star guy, veteran player, president of the association becomes available. Oh, and he's willing to come here. Yeah, you make that trade from 10 times out of 10. But now at the end of the day, the reality is, even considering how many games Brandon and Zion has played, that duo with this regime, Griff being president of basketball operation in that whole front office, it's year five of them. May
yeah,
only be year three of Willie, but it's year five of them. And you see some people who, like, just from a sheer talent perspective, um, and having talent on paper, that they should be competing, and competing can mean various things to different people. It don't necessarily just flat out, looking to contend or win a championship, but just compete, maybe get four, win a series or so. And then there's other people who's taking the, where they've only played 100 some odd games together as a duo, or Willie only had this starting lineup for about 30 games in his career, even though he'd been here two plus counting. Like, what do you think the goal was? Is the goal evaluating this year again, just from like assessing who is and who isn't it, or who's going, like, like, where do you feel with that?
and you know what? I think about that question and phrase in a bunch of different ways, like all the time. And I keep putting myself in like a position of power and thinking, if I was in a if I wanted to if I was very image conscious like David Griffin is, if I was worried, or I was very um consistent about making sure that my name was not dragged through the mud, I would be trying to make sure that I could absolve all blame for this failing. So, and if it succeeded, great. It looks like it was a part of the plan the entire time, and they just needed to get healthy, like you said, and they just needed the time. And I brought in the pieces that could work, and we drafted well, and we brought in, and Zion finally bought in, and Brandon finally changed his game, his tune, and CJ was the leadership did this and that. I think the goal, I don't even know if it's a goal, but to me, I think it was to because I think it was clear when they didn't really upgrade the roster because they looked at it as we can't really tie any more into this investment that's already there because we don't know what we have anyway. We don't know if it's even going to be available, but what's there should be enough at least to be a competitive team. And I think that their goal was to leave it on the players and certain other people in the organization to see where it fell. And it was either going to succeed or it was going to burn down to the ground. Therefore, certain people wouldn't be held responsible. And when it all failed or it all succeeded, they could either look like the hero or they could cast away into the shadows. That's what I think. I think it was, and I don't say that to say that nobody was being malicious or sneaky or nothing like that. But I think that it was set up in a way to where all the responsibility was put on the players and the people that's getting paid the most money to figure it out. And that way, so all the criticism that we're seeing about Zion, the confusion about the inconsistency on Brandon Ingram, all everything being put on them. Because what do you see right now? You see people telling you how great of a job David Griffin has done. You see people giving them shine for the rookie classes and Jordan Hawkins and Trey Murphy. We know Trey about to get paid. You see people thinking Willie Green's a top flight coach. I saw somebody put on a national pundit say he was coach of the year candidate, and that may be true, but game to game, we view, we have different opinions on him. You know what I'm saying? Game to game, we don't really see it that way. So the opinions of everyone else is safe. Everything that I see right now of people talking about the Pelicans, not about David Griffin, it's not about Willie Green, it's not about anybody else on the staff, not the training staff, not the city, not Gail Benson. They're talking about the players and they're talking about the roster. And I think that's exactly what the powers that be want.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So to your shopping analogy,
Yeah.
David Griffin shops for the dented cans in the back of the store.
You want everything on clearance. I promise you he do.
He wants a deal.
And if it's not a deal, he don't care about he don't even care about the sale. It gotta be. It's either difference between a sale and a deal.
Yeah,
people don't realize it's totally different.
This bread expires tomorrow.
This sale.
What can we do?
Look. Me and my girl be having these conversations all the time. She be like, "Babe, the shit was $600, but they had it on sale for $400. That don't matter to me.
That don't
matter to me. Now, if you say you got it for $50 or $100, that's a deal. We two different shoppers. I'm looking for a deal. She looking for a sale. Totally different, bro.
We gotta find our boys some deals, man. They could use some help, man, in a good way.
Hey man, we gonna do this again, man. I appreciate y'all as always. These are, mind y'all, for y'all that don't know, most of y'all that watch this show, that be in the comments and shit, I have never and probably won't ever meet y'all, and probably don't need to meet y'all, to be honest. But I have met all three of these people and got love for them every time I see them in real life. Rocky, I want to start with you. Please tell the people where to find you at. Then we'll go to Charles and we'll go to Faloran and we'll close out.
Look, y'all can find me on Twitter and Spaces. Shit, I'm hosting. My co-hosts. Look, we do this shit every game, whether we win or lose. I even did it moving, packing, boxing, unloading. And so we do this every game, man. Y'all can find us. Look, you don't have to agree with us, but you can pull up and you can give us your view. If you don't agree with our view, we don't hold nobody from speaking unless you're a Lakers fan. You are not welcome. And that's all I got to say.
That part. Charles?
I just like Rocky said, every day after the games, every night, pull up to the Spaces. Holler at me on Twitter. I love to go back and forth. Please don't think that because I don't agree with you or you don't agree with me. I am the most likable Pelicans fan that you could ever meet. I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm going to tell y'all this. I'll tell you the story. I remember the days on Hornets Report, Pelicans Report. I remember emailing, what's the dude named? Jimmy Smith.
Oh.
Man, we was going back and forth in the email. I was a straight up Karen emailing this dude because he didn't know what he was talking about. I just love to chop it up. So pull up. If you block me, unblock me. It's okay. If I blocked you, I'll unblock you. Let's move forward amicably.
And then my dog Faloran, listen, I admire the fact that, like, if I was building somebody, like, let's say I was going into a fight, like a Twitter fight against a group of stands, right? They could be Brandon Ingram stands. They could be like Lonzo Ball stands. They could be like whoever, Zach LaVine stands, whoever. Faloran would be on my team because she don't play. She don't play. When there's a stand fight to be there, she there strong. Like, what up? But tell the people where to follow you at.
Like you said, NO_YF, which is also my IG. You know, you'll see me from time to time post something when I finally decide to doll it up and look cute. But other than that, yeah, man, check us out every post game. Thank you for Chris. If y'all don't know, if you've been watching this man, then you don't know that he the one who started all this. Like, really shame on you. Like, really shame on you. So yeah, just appreciate, you know what I mean, you first and foremost, the whole Pels, pro Pels. Again, that people choose to, and I get it. If you don't like content, okay, cool. Like, there's other guys that you can tune into, tap into, get your news or your content um from. But far too often you see um one guy have an opinion, and that turns you know a bunch of guys off to the whole entire um show or the whole situation. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, it's 5 or 6 dudes, all of them don't have the same opinion. And not that it matter, like you said, Chris, you don't want to meet them, you don't care to meet them. But the reason why I go hard for y'all, and I don't, the thing is, like, I don't, like, I've seen people tell me, oh, she a Chaz this, or she a Chris that, and it's like, it ain't even about that. Like, y'all don't know these dudes, what they've done for me on some, like, off Twitter shit. And so it's just, for me, it's just about, I genuinely show love and give back to people who just are tremendously gracious and have been tremendously gracious to me. And all three of y'all sit on here and have done something for me um without having been asked. So I'm just, I'm not gonna tolerate the disrespect. Like, I wouldn't allow, nigga to come from my own brother, come from my own mama. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, these dudes get paid millions and they humans, but at the end of the day, like, this really is a child's game, right? They just get paid millions of dollars to do it. So I can't subscribe to the idea that it takes you being disrespectful and out of pocket when you don't agree. You can disagree and keep it civil. Like, that should be a thing. We all adults here, but it's been great, man. I know we're gonna do this again. I know me and Charles, our time coming up, college hoops. It's been a joy to watch that and tap into it so far. So that's our lane, and pretty sure Rocky gonna probably try to put something together. All three of us gonna put something together. And Chris, you more than welcome, man. So again, appreciate you. It's all love, bro. Can't wait to see you Wednesday.
For sure, man. I'm gonna be. Listen, I'm gonna be there. And Friday, I
My
think.
girl coming, or you coming
Yeah,
Dolo?
yeah, she
Chris,
coming.
Chris,
Yeah, she coming. Yeah, yeah. Somebody
Chris.
put that. What up?
Let me say this. Okay, so starting towards the end of the season, once I get everything in here situated, um, Spaces has an option where we can do live spaces. We're gonna try that shit out this year before the season over with. Especially if we
Yeah.
make it, especially if we go to the playoffs. So y'all being warned. If you think you see us talking shit through here and you can hear us, wait till you can see us.
Now, see, that's what we talking about.
That's dope. Last question, Kristen. I know you're trying to get us out here. You're probably trying to get out here. Because
No,
you've been asking us questions. Next 41 games. What are you, one, excited to see, and two, what do you want to see?
um, I'm probably I'm probably biased about one. I want to see Trey Murphy feel like Trey Murphy, and that may not even happen this year. In all honesty, it may take him a full year. But I want to see as he inches closer back to feeling like himself. I can promise you. I watched the way he land. I watched the way he jumped going towards the rim. He ain't there. You know what I'm saying? He's not there yet. But I see some advancements in his game while he tries to get there. I see his playmaking. I see the
Oh, 1,000%.
yeah. I see the layups around the rim. He missed 2 free throws tonight, and I don't know what to
Three.
yeah, three. All right, three. There you go. Three. Two back
Yeah,
to back.
two
But
back-to-back ones. We're gonna
yeah,
talk about that, Trey. We're gonna talk about that.
yeah, but
Right.
I'm looking forward to see what that looks like, and I'm looking to see if a roster is fully stripped down a little bit. I'm looking to see what all shooter or a four shooter and a fifth looks like, or I'm interested in seeing what a CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, um, Zion lineup looks like. I'm looking to see what this team can really turn to from a creativity perspective offensively, using some of these talents all together, not just pairings, not just duos, not just
Bingo.
like these two to get. Now, I want to see Trey, Jordan, and CJ all on the floor with Zion. I want to see those three together with Brandon, who teams consistently try to trap and get to throw cross court passes. I want to see what that looks like, regardless of who is going to be the center. And I want to see what that can look like. I want to see if they add a rim protector. I just did a show about, and this is, I think this by the time the show is out, the other show will be out. But I just did a show about what would Herb Jones look like as a defender with a rim protector. I don't know. I'd like to see it. I've never seen it. I've never had the chance to see it. So what does that look like? So I think some things that I've been kind of waiting on for Lauren for multiple years now, from an offensive perspective, and what they can add possibly defensively protecting the rim. I want to see if those things are added and maximized. Um, so yo, man, these three people, until I'm under the ground, and my folk, word from DraftKings, we out.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms.
Charles,
Yo.
you wanna end it with a cacao?
Cacao!